This is a direct violation. You cannot have this equipment here. We have rules in this community, and you need to move it right now. Do you understand? You have no right to be on this property. This is not your call to make.
I think you should walk away right now.
For over 20 years, my ranch had been my pride and my livelihood. Every fence, every acre, and every machine had been earned through hard work. That beautiful $45,000 tractor was the heart of my operation. I kept every piece of equipment spotless because I respected the work it did. Across the road, the HOA board had a different opinion. To them, my ranch was an eyesore standing in the way of their luxury neighborhood. As she drove away, I figured the argument was over. I couldn't have been more wrong. Karen wasn't interested in compromise. She wanted control. The next morning felt strangely quiet. Something about the fresh tire tracks near the equipment shed immediately caught my attention. My instincts told me something wasn't right. Years of running a ranch had taught me one lesson. Always trust your instincts. That's exactly why I'd installed cameras across the property months earlier. Across the road, Karen and her husband seemed unusually interested in my equipment. They kept glancing toward the tractor as if they were planning something. Her husband wore the kind of smile that usually meant trouble. He acted like he had already won before the game had even started. I decided to stay patient and keep watching. That evening, I locked my gates like always and headed inside. I had no idea that by sunrise, someone would drive away with my $45,000 tractor and set off the biggest mistake of their lives. The next morning, my stomach dropped. The barn was open, and my tractor was gone. Whoever took it knew exactly what they were looking for. The tire marks weren't random. They led straight toward the HOA entrance. Someone had driven my tractor away in broad daylight. I opened the security recordings. There he was, Karen's husband, climbing into my tractor like it belonged to him. His smile told me he thought he'd get away with it. I didn't chase him in anger. I simply drove toward the neighborhood where I already suspected he'd gone. Sometimes patience wins faster than shouting. They weren't hiding the tractor. They were showing it off. Neighbors actually applauded, as if stealing someone's property was entertainment. When I arrived, Karen wore a smug smile. She expected me to argue. Instead, I simply asked one question. I politely asked for my tractor to be returned. Karen's husband laughed and said I should prove it was mine. That answer told me everything I needed to know. Karen claimed the tractor had been abandoned and that her husband was protecting the neighborhood. Even some of the neighbors nodded in agreement. A patrol vehicle rolled into the neighborhood. The deputies hadn't been called by me. Someone else had reported the disturbance. Karen's husband was still smiling. He had no idea that the next few seconds would completely change the conversation. The badge hidden beneath my shirt was about to end his confidence. Without raising my voice, I pulled back my shirt just enough to reveal my badge. The smiles around me disappeared instantly. Suddenly, everyone realized this wasn't going the way they expected. Karen's husband stepped off the tractor without saying a word. His confidence had vanished. Reality had finally caught up with him. The deputies checked the paperwork and the identification numbers. Everything matched perfectly. There was no question who legally owned the tractor. Karen tried to turn the story around. She blamed misunderstandings, assumptions, and even her husband. But excuses couldn't erase what everyone had already seen. The deputy asked for the keys. This time, there was no argument. Karen's husband quietly handed them over. I climbed back into my tractor, exactly where I belonged. The crowd that had laughed only minutes earlier had gone completely silent. I drove away at the same slow pace they had mocked before. This time, nobody laughed. Everyone simply watched. The HOA board suddenly became very quiet. The people who had supported Karen moments earlier wanted nothing to do with the situation now. Back at the ranch, everything felt normal again. The tractor was home where it belonged. Sometimes justice doesn't need drama, just patience and the truth. Karen's husband thought he could take what wasn't his. In the end, one simple badge changed everything. Respect, honesty, and patience will always outlast arrogance. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible HOA stories every week. And let us know in the comments, where are you watching from?